Good morning, everyone. Today is the 24th of November. I hope you had Thanksgiving yesterday. Well, today we're ready for the 12th chapter of Acts. This is the account of Peter being delivered from prison by an angel. Herod was a very, very evil king, and he killed James, and now he sought about to kill Peter and put him in prison and was going to deliver him to the people at Easter time, but God had other plans. The 11th verse of Acts 12 says, "And when Peter was come to himself, he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel and hath delivered me out of the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews." You know, the Jews that are unbelievers hate Jesus Christ. They hate the Messiah. And they want to deliver the Christians unto the secular authorities, don't they? We see the same thing today. How they have come against the Christians. How they promoted abortion. How they promoted homosexuality. How they promoted socialism and every other thing. And I'm not being anti-Semitic because I'm not putting them all in the same basket. Acts 12. Now about that time Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with a sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. I guess he was going to wait till after Easter to do his dirty work. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. When Herod would have brought him forth the same night, Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers bound with 2 chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison. And he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands. And the angel said unto him, Gird thyself and bind on thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, Cast thy garment about thee and follow me. And when he went out and followed him, and was not that it was true which was done by the angel, but thought he saw a vision. When they were past the first and second ward, they came unto the iron gate that leadeth unto the city, which opened to them of his own accord. And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. And when Peter was come to himself, and he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel and delivered me out of the hand of Herod, and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. And when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a damsel came to hearken, named Rhoda. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the gate for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate. And they said unto her, Thou art mad. But she constantly affirmed that it was even so. Then they said, It is an angel. But Peter continued knocking, and when they had opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. But he, beckoning unto them with the hand to hold their peace, declared unto them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he said, Go show these things unto James and to the brethren. And he departed and went into another place. Now as soon as it was day, there was no small stir among the soldiers what was become of Peter. And when Herod had sought for him and found him not, he examined the keepers and commanded that they should be put to death. And he went down from Judea to Caesarea, and there abode. And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon, But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king's chamberlain their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. And upon a set day Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne, and made an oration unto them. And the people gave a shout, saying, It's the voice of a God, and not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not the God the glory. And he was eaten of worms, and gave up the ghost. But the word of God grew and multiplied. And Barnabas and Saul returned from Jerusalem when they had fulfilled their ministry, and took with them John, whose surname was Mark. Well, sometimes we don't want to believe what we prayed for. God has answered. And this is the account here. They didn't want to believe. The very thing they were praying for, God had answered and delivered Peter out of prison. Peter himself thought he was in a vision during this deliverance. And you know, there were so many miracles that were demonstrated here by this angel. First, there was a light that shined in the prison. His chains fell off, and he walked through not only the first and second ward, but when he came to the gate of the city opened of its own accord. Wow, you know, this is quite amazing. And so, when Peter came to this house, of Mary, the mother of Mark, and Rhoda came and saw that he was at the gate, she recognized Peter's voice, and she went in and told the people in the house, and they said she was mad. They couldn't believe that Christ had delivered Peter from prison, even though they had prayed for Peter's deliverance. But finally they opened the door, and they were very astonished. And Peter shared with them the events of that night and how he had been delivered by an angel of God. And notice also, Herod was very full of himself, and he went down to make a speech. And for the people of Tyre and Sidon, and they tried to exalt Herod, saying it was the voice of God, and immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory. There's a lot of people today that are going to be smote by God for not giving him the glory in all things, including their salvation. Notice Herod was eaten up with worms. Well, this is quite an account of Peter's deliverance and Herod's demise, is it not? One of these days Satan and his kingdom is going to be brought down. Christ has already won the victory. On the cross he said, it is finished. So he's already purchased our salvation with his own blood if we're one of his. And he's already delivered us from the snare and the fowler and the noisome pestilence. So let us give God the glory and not be eaten up with worms. Well, this is a great message for us, and now let us not be amazed and shocked when God shows his mighty, mighty power. May the good Lord be with you today is my prayer. God bless.